for every producer that messages me and says, buy my beats, and I say, I'm not trying to buy your beats. I'm a producer. What your plan, your marketing plan is terrible. And they say, well, I don't know what else to do. We're 177, right? Or no, 77. Damn, man, I keep doing that.
Yeah. You just add 100, just a quick 100 weeks real quick.
That's because I keep it 100. What's going down is the Music Entrepreneur Club, episode number 76, presented by BeatStars, BeatStars.live. We're live every Monday and every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a free music business mentorship program. Knowing that it's both a music business mentorship program and it's free, I can't think of a good reason why anyone would miss our weekly sessions. How are you feeling, Dame? It's episode 76, aka 176 minus 100.
I'm feeling good. This past week we had Futuristic join us and talk about his new business, Indie Amplify, but also his streaming success. You know, it's end of the year. Everybody's posting the Spotify Wrapped pictures. And I think we said last week, you know, you really should just be comparing your 2020 graphic to your 2019 graphic. Like, that's the most important comparison. Although I know it's hard not to compare to other artists when they're posting stuff. So if I was an artist and I seen somebody posting some impressive numbers, you know, I would probably reach out to them or at least follow them and see kind of how they're moving. Try not to get jealous or anything like that, but see if there's an opportunity to learn. But Futuristic joined us because I think the number he put on the board this year was 55 million on Spotify alone, and that's pretty impressive. The one thing that he said that I didn't really think about, but what makes a lot of sense, is like the impact that his collaborations have had on possibly the algorithm on Spotify, right? Because if you're releasing music with a lot of different artists, you know, and if those songs do well, you know, you'll probably show up in, you know, on their page as artists that you might, I forget what the category is called. I think it's like artists similar to, or other artists you might like, or something like that. So you might show up on those pages more often, and you'll probably show up like maybe in their radio. Like if you're listening to, you know, J. Cole radio, not that you're going to get a verse from J. Cole, but you know, you'll probably just show up in the algorithms more. So I thought that was a super gem that obviously it makes sense. It's not that difficult to understand, but I see why that has played to his favor, because he releases a lot of collabs.
And then you also want to go against the entire Clubhouse establishment, right?
Nah, it's not. It's not even like. So we can start off with my topic today. So yeah, Clubhouse, it's dominated by music industry discussions. I think any hour of the day, there's somebody in there that's hosting a room that is talking to artists. And a lot of times these rooms are being hosted by people that have like real jobs in the industry, like A&R or, you know, so they're sharing stories or they're sharing advice that I think is relevant for their particular job. You know, but when I do venture in these rooms, I always hear something that's not for independent artists to hear. So for example, I went into a room this morning and the suggestion from, I think it was somebody from 300, they were saying, you know, focus on one platform. And when I heard that, I was like, like, this is like, I mean, I guess that can be an approach to use, but we can talk about the positive and negatives of doing that. But my thing is whether you're trying to get signed or whether you're trying to remain independent, like you should be doing the same things, right? Like you should be, you know, focusing on the fans, putting out music consistently, engaging with them. I definitely think that you should be focusing on more than one platform. But when you hear that pain, if somebody says, hey, you should really just double down on TikTok or double down on Instagram, is that something you agree with?
I mean, if I'm an artist who's looking to the person sharing this information for direction, I'm probably going to listen to them. Me as DJ Pain One, no, I definitely don't agree with that. I mean, that's the problem with making those kinds of statements where you say, this is what you should do. This is what successful artists do. And it's something so specific as focus on one platform. I think just in a general sense, I don't even want to get too deep into why I think that's totally wrong. But even in a really broad sense, every platform pretty much can host the same content. So if you're a recording artist and you have a music video, you put that music video on YouTube, right? But you also put it on IGTV. You share a snippet of it in your IG story. You share a snippet of it in your reels. You share it on what is that? What's the new Twitter surface called?
A fleet?
Yeah, you share it on your fleet. You share it on your TikTok. You post something to your YouTube community tab if you have one. You tweet it. I mean, there's really no logical reason to not share your art on every single platform that has living and breathing humans on it. I think in just a general sense, that should trigger something in someone's head when they hear someone tell them not to take that approach. It just isn't logical.
Yeah, my thing is that if you feel like if you don't feel like you have any fans on the platform, then okay, you don't need to be there, or any potential fans. But if there's a platform where you feel like your target audience exists, then I think you should have some type of presence on that platform. Like it doesn't cost you anything but time. And if you're focusing on one platform when it could benefit you to be on another one, I just think that's lazy.
But that's a trick question, though. I mean, to say, do you have no fans on this platform, but do you have fans on another? I can't think of a scenario in which a rapper would have fans only on YouTube, but for some reason those people don't exist on Twitter.
Well, I mean, not for the major platforms, right? But when you go to like the second and third tier platforms, like a Pinterest, or do artists need to be on LinkedIn? I mean, that's a conversation. That's a conversation to be had.
That's true.
I would imagine, and there could be an artist where it makes sense to share their art and not just network and for professional stuff on LinkedIn. But you do have to repurpose your content or cut your content a little differently for the different audiences on different platforms, or the attention span differences on different platforms, or just the way the algorithms cater to like specific types of content. You have to know what's preferred on in each platform, so that you obviously put a lot of time and energy into the music. You want it to be as effective as possible, so why not give yourself the best chance? I mean, if you focus on one platform, that's just such a risky thing to do, right? Like, who knows what changes happen to these platforms, or if the platform goes away. Like that's it's such bad advice from people that have decades of experience in the music industry. And because they have decades of music industry experience, a lot of young people will listen. And I think especially something like that, because, I think a lot of artists are looking for a reason to be lazy. It's like, oh, I was spending my time like putting stuff on all these different platforms, but so-and-so from this major label, they told me to focus on one platform. Cool. Like, I'm definitely doing that because that is going to save a lot of time. But it's not the way you should be building. Most people are not going to get signed to a label anyway. So, I just think it's important to do what's best to set yourself up as an independent artist. And should you get signed, having that mindset is going to be the best thing for you going into a label situation. So, you really don't have to pick or choose what should be the best approach.
I mean, I personally think if your music marketing strategy is centered around attracting the attention of the industry rather than fans, you're going to fail. Simply because, people get signed because of, in most cases these days, because of their fans, because the label sees how many fans an unsigned artist has and says, okay, we can monetize those fans and expand that fan base. they're not necessarily looking. I'm not saying that they don't sign based on talent, but if you have the talent and the fans, you're a way better prospect for them. And in the case that you never do get signed, or you get offered some deals that aren't good, that aren't favorable, and you turn them down, you still have your fans and you monetize them. You are your label, and that can carry you through the duration of your entire career. So, another thing that counters that whole single platform idea is, and I think Sean Barron said this, and he's an A&R, if he's looking at an artist, and I'm sorry if I'm not attributing this quote correctly, if you're an artist and an A&R from a label is looking at you and you have a huge presence on Instagram, but it doesn't translate over to YouTube or it doesn't translate over to TikTok, they might think twice about investing money into you. With regard to producers, definitely producers need to, for the most part, I mean, this is general advice for everybody, but I would encourage producers to try different platforms. I mean, use your BeatStars as kind of the center. This is what I do. I use my BeatStars as my center, right? That's the center of my overall online business. And then there are all of these other platforms, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, to which I'm able to share my beats and then direct those users back to my beat store. That's why I say it's in the center. It's like the sun, and all of these are orbiting planets. All these other social media platforms are orbiting planets. And you find that the more places your beats are, the more people hear them. And, that increases your likelihood of building a fan base and a customer base. I feel like that's just common sense, though.
Right. Yeah. No, it should be. It definitely should be common sense. And I think I was in a Clubhouse room with Ryan Davis, who's a comedian, and he was talking about his different platforms and how, like, what the value is to him from the different platforms. He was saying, like, Facebook, like, that's where people buy things. Like, a lot of his fans on Facebook will buy things, and not to say nobody from any other platform will, but he says Instagram, that, like, increases his fame. Like, that's where where people think he's cool, and he might get some it just raises his notoriety. Not that Facebook doesn't do that at all, again, but there's certain platforms that do things better, right? And I think TikTok, we had another artist, Biddle, on from who's gotten 1.5 million followers on TikTok, and now he's trying to figure out how to spread that success to his other platforms. And it's worked to some extent, but definitely not to the degree. He's got 1.5 million on TikTok, and then I think probably like 30,000 on Instagram. So obviously there's a huge disconnect. There's a reason why his stuff is winning on TikTok, and it's not the same on Instagram yet. And I think he needs to figure that out, because we just don't know what's going to happen with these platforms. Ultimately, I'm going to say you need your fans' data. We use Fan Connect to do text marketing, and we talked about that with Futuristic too, because he uses Fan Connect to do text marketing, get fans' numbers, get fans' emails. But in the news yesterday, they were saying that, I haven't read all the details of the story, but that Facebook might get broke, or Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook. The government might force Facebook to break up, and I'm not sure what that's going to do to any of the platforms. But all I'm saying is we just don't know what's going to happen with these platforms, and to put all of your energy into YouTube, and then you do something stupid and you get a copyright strike or a few strikes, and then they take your YouTube page away, then what? Like, it would be so risky for any artist to do that. So, you just have to watch who you're taking advice from. And I think you can't go wrong when you're always just thinking about the fans and where your fans are. If you develop that mindset and then you focus on the fans and engaging with the fans, whether you want to get signed in the future or not, I don't think you can lose. But don't try to take shortcuts and taking bad advice because you want to be lazy. And that confirms an opportunity to be lazy. That's a formula for failure, in my opinion.
So speaking of platforms, I know we talked last week about relying on friends and family for support. So this is a phenomenon that I'm witnessing firsthand. I'm experiencing. Maybe you're experiencing this too. Correct me if I'm wrong. I get a lot of acquaintances, not necessarily close friends, but people who have my number contacting me to try to get me to buy into their business. Some of it's realty, some of it's investing, some of it's insurance, some of it's OnlyFans. And the OnlyFans thing,
invest into their OnlyFans, or just
not invest into their OnlyFans, but join their OnlyFans. And it's people that, well, women that I've met. To me, it's strange to me that friends are using their personal contact list as their customer database. It feels like desperation if you're just randomly texting a bunch of people saying, "Hey, you want to buy a house?" or "Hey, you want to see me naked?" It doesn't seem appropriate to use your personal I mean, it'd be like me just sending an email to a random woman that I met at a club 6 years ago saying, "Hey, you want to start rapping? I got beats, www.djpain1beats.com." So I tweeted just because I was noticing it, and I had some friends who were noticing it as well, that join my OnlyFans is the new check out my mixtape, bro. And what I meant was that you're seeing this this kind of gold rush era happening to newer platforms, same way you did with beat selling. How many people are jumping in your inbox saying, "Buy my beats," and it's just this copy and paste message. Now you're seeing that with other platforms like OnlyFans, or even, realty or other services. And it's just unfortunate because there are best practices. And I want to talk about, for example, BeatStars, right? BeatStars is a standout platform in the sense that there are so many resources that they give out to their users freely. We're one. I mean, the fact that we're on twice a week with our free mentorship program is pretty unparalleled. Most platforms, I can't name a platform that does that. But they also have best practices. They also have free summits to tune into. They also have all other kinds of streams on BeatStars.live that have nothing to do with me or you. And I know with my sessions, we'll literally go step by step on how to best market your beats. For example, with Google Ads, that's not a BeatStars system. It's just that we want to convey to people, to producers, no matter what platform you use, how to best sell your beats. And if you're a BeatStars user, great. That's just going to send traffic back to your beat store. That's the ultimate goal, to try to increase your marketing prowess. Become a better marketer, sell more beats, that kind of thing. And so when I tweeted that tweet about OnlyFans, somebody actually from OnlyFans reached out to me. They replied and they're like, "Hey, I work for OnlyFans. Let's talk." It's like, okay, cool. So they DM me, and I don't want to talk about OnlyFans too much. I don't know anything about them, and they're not sponsoring us or anything. But the woman who reached out to me sent me this long message about best practices and about, what the platform could offer, how to make the best use of it. And I'm like, okay, so this is, it's really, social media is really kind of not the wild, wild west. People are making it out to be, and so for every producer that messages me and says, "Buy my beats," and I say, "I'm not trying to buy your beats. I'm a producer. What your plan, your marketing plan is terrible." And they say, "Well, I don't know what else to do." And for every friend that I maybe haven't seen for 10 years who's trying to get me to pay $10.99 a month to subscribe to their OnlyFans, there are best practices. There are people at these platforms that are giving you the resources and pointing you in the right direction. And the real issue is that people just aren't taking advantage of these resources. So it goes back to, I guess, kind of, you know, our slogan, which is education is the only solution, but education.
Is that our slogan? I didn't know.
It's one of our many slogans. You know, we always just say, what's the solution? Well, education's the solution, but you can't force education on people. So there are a million resources for each platform. There are best practices, and it's not about it's not about the people who take advantage of these resources. It's about the people who willfully ignore them and act as though they don't exist. And that is where you run into these patterns of kind of desperate Wild West style marketing where people just don't even know what the hell's going on, and they're trying to sell beats to other producers, or they're sending OnlyFans links to their aunts and uncles. And it's just like, man, guys, you got to get your stuff together. I don't know what the solution is, but hey, if people
sounds like you just needed to get something off your chest, Payne. Like, it didn't just sound like frustration with how some producers are approaching things.
No, it was actually a hopeful revelation to me to have someone from another platform reach out. And I'm not a member of OnlyFans. You know, they were trying to recruit me. I'm like, and on the, not like, hey, Payne, everyone wants to see your penis, but like,
wow,
like, here's how you can utilize the platform as a content creator. And so,
right. Yeah, you know, no, every platform has, I mean, Facebook has a ton of resources.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to learn how to run ads on their platform, I mean, it only benefits their platform if you know how to use it correctly. You know, FanConnect is about to get reintegrated into BeatStars, so I'll probably be hosting a weekly webinar on like how to use it. You know, obviously that benefits people because they'll know how to effectively use text marketing, but then it benefits BeatStars and FanConnect as well, because more people use FanConnect, more beats will be sold. So I think it only makes sense for these platforms to be as supportive and educational as possible. But if you don't take the time to go through the resources and learn how to best leverage the platform, then that's on you. But that's another free thing that benefits your career. You know, so again, to all the people that think you need a ton of money to get started, like, you know, this information that these platforms give out is so valuable, and it's free. All you gotta do is click on it, spend some time, you know, put it in your calendar to learn a few things every week. You know, I know it's daunting, all of the things that independent artists need to learn, but break it up and just make sure you're learning a few things new every single week, right? And you put it in your calendar. Okay, this is Tuesday and Thursday. I'm going to go through some type of training on some type of topic every week, and just treat it like school. You know, when we don't have school, when you're out of school, you no longer have that structure of somewhere you have to be, but you have to discipline yourself and maybe, you know, put your own schedule together so that you're continuously learning.
Yeah. Switching topics. Do you ever feel a disconnect between you and other human beings?
I mean, I have my people that I always connect with, so I always have some faith in humanity, but there are definitely people that I struggle to connect with, for sure. You know, I'm online all the time, so I see the ridiculousness. We are in a pandemic right now. We're going through shit that we shouldn't be going through, because of, in large part, because of ignorance. And even people that I thought were smart keep posting dumb shit. And it's like, come on, bro. Like, you're killing us over here. But yes.
I mean, just a step beyond that, just on a human level where, okay, so I guess you didn't see it. There was a very weird exchange. I'm characterizing it as weird. This is all my perspective on the MEC Instagram page. And it just kind of showed me further evidence that maybe there's something wrong with my brain. Like I might have some kind of disorder, like a social disorder, spectrum disorder, something where, I don't know. I feel like I'll say something in my mind that's inoffensive or uncontroversial and people will freak out. And for the longest time, I just figured people were sensitive or people were soft or whatever. Cause I wake up and I check my phone and it's total strangers telling me they're going to come to my city and beat me up or telling me to eat a dick or telling me I'm trash and all this stuff. And I just have to shrug it off. You know what I mean? And like these things are actually offensive and nasty to me, but they come with the territory. I mean, there's no denying that someone's saying, yo, Payne, when I catch you is on site. That's a nasty thing to say to somebody, especially someone you don't know. But so there was this weird exchange and this was on the MEC page and it had to do with, I think one of the tweets that I reposted about, spamming people and kind of forcing your music on them. And that if that's what your strategy is, it's flawed. And, I stand by that. I think if your strategy is no strategy, there's a problem there. But someone challenged me and they said, sending out random DMs is worth the effort. And I responded, and I'll read exactly what my tweet said. Your opinion is that it's worth it. I'd love to see your data and hear you share your career success story with using that as your marketing strategy. I just want to know what evidence he has that caused him to form that opinion. If he has data, I want to see it. If he has anecdotal evidence or something, I'm just curious. I want to hear, because I disagree with him. He's challenging me. Now I'm challenging him to display his information. I don't think that was a mean thing for me to say.
Well, it depends. I mean, I see how some of the stuff that you write is super short, and it seems, because I intentionally write stuff like that when I'm trying to, like I'll try to expose somebody's ignorance just by asking questions, and it is I know when I'm being kind of a dickhead, but like on purpose to count instead of coming at them the way they've came at me. Like I'm more calm and measured, but I'm just trying to lead you down a path that hopefully sees your own ignorance, and if you don't see it, the people reading it definitely see it. So I do this intentionally sometimes, but I think like your default voice is very short and it's very, can be read in a tone. Obviously you can't hear tone when you're reading it, but the way that they receive it, I think the tone is disrespectful to them.
Yeah. So the response was from a third party, not even the person I was talking to. Your response seems kind of nasty. And I said, what did I say that was so insulting? And her response was, he didn't make an assertion. He asked a question, and your response of a challenge implies sarcasm in the form of doubt and implied failure. To me, that's like word soup. So I'm already drowning in the word soup.
But I could see how she can interpret it that way. If you're just reading those words.
Well, so here's my question then to you. So the last message from her, and then after that, I was like, oh, I'm done. She's putting a lot on me. If you are in fact challenging the validity of his assertion, the implication is indeed failure or lack of value or proof in method, or am I missing something? His challenge was a positive assertion. I don't understand that. As far as your challenge, it seems possible that your invitation was a sarcastic taunt with implications of lack of success in their method. Well, here's my question. Say I was being a dick and saying, and what I was implying was, I don't think you actually had success with that method, but I'm challenging you to admit to that. Is that disrespectful, nasty, or offensive? If we're having an exchange about something impersonal and you say, this method works, and I say, prove it, I don't believe you though. Is that disrespectful? Is it nasty?
It's on a scale. It definitely is not high. On the nasty scale, it's It's whatever. Like if the dude does have some success, because I would imagine that there are some times where if you are creative enough in sending direct messages and you've identified the people, you've really targeted a certain group of people that you think will respond positively to, but you're not talking about people that are doing it in a smart way or creative. You're talking about people that just copy and paste the same message and try to sell beats to producers and whoever else. I mean, I get beats sent to me. I don't even rap, like, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do with the beats. Unless I specifically ask people because I'm working with an artist or something. So people are on edge in the music industry. Like, I think, it's a lot of ego, it's a lot of skepticism, and we're typing back and forth. So I see why you got that response. Do I agree with it? No, of course not. He could have just been like, well, I just landed a $5,000 placement by sending this direct message to so and so. See, it works. Like, or he could not prove it. I mean,
well, I mean, he didn't, and that's the thing. I mean, it would have been really interesting to talk about. I would have probably brought it up here and say, hey, look, someone challenged me and they had proof. So let me, because I used
was
to
that
be.
honestly your intention when you replied to this guy?
My intention is just to challenge back. I mean, if you're going to challenge what I say, I'm going to challenge you. And it's not a disrespectful thing. We're not talking about, my thing is, I'm not calling you ugly. I'm not speaking on you personally. I'm not talking about your family members. I'm not threatening you. I'm not telling you you're trash. I'm not insulting any aspect of you as a human. All I'm saying is you challenged me, right? And I didn't find that disrespectful. You can challenge any information you want. And so my response was a challenge to say, okay, if that's how you feel and I disagree with you, what makes you feel that way? What is the basis of your challenge? Do you have information? Do you have resources? Do you have data?
How many times did you go back and forth, and how many responses did you give this thread?
Too many, probably 4. But that is on me, and that's every now and then I'll do that. It seems like I do it more often than I do, but my question though is what is wrong with me? I'm not even worried about what's wrong with them, because it wasn't just that one person that was saying, "Oh my God, you're nasty." Someone else was like, "Whoa, why'd you have to do the dude like that?" And I'm just like, I didn't roast him. I simply asked him. This is what's happening in my head. I'm saying, if you challenge me, I can challenge you back. That's not nasty. It's like, if you're in a boxing ring and someone punches you and you counter, you're not being a bully. You're not doing something wrong. That based on the context of.
But there's a lot of things that play. I mean, the people watching. I mean, obviously, if maybe the people responding are friends or family of this person you're getting into it with, because so now they're more sensitive. There's a lot of different things that could be at play, online, especially when it's just writing, right? But like I said, like, sometimes I write with the intention of exposing your ignorance because what you said was so stupid. I didn't call you an idiot. I didn't call you a dumbass. But what I said exposed that is what you are, and people are seeing it and they realize that now. So now it's, F you Dame or whatever, you fucked up Funk Volume, you stole Hops's money, or whatever they want to say. And then it just goes completely left. But I didn't cuss at them. I just typically expose how dumb they are. Then that's the reactions you get.
But are you wrong for that? Are you nasty for that?
I really don't care. Like, if and when I do that, it's just entertaining to me. So if you call me nasty, that's fine. At least I got a chuckle out of it. Like, I really don't care. Like, a lot of times people will circle back to read the exchange and they'll be like, "Dang, why did you do that?" Or "That was hilarious." And I was like, "I found it hilarious too." Like, I don't know. It's just entertainment to me. And I don't spend too much of my time doing this, but if I have a minute or two and the comment is just that stupid, it's kind of fun. I don't know if that's a problem with me, But, you know, exposing somebody's ignorance, I don't have much time for it, but a few minutes here and there, why not?
Well, that's what I'm asking. So I don't personally see anything wrong with challenging somebody to either prove their point or expose their own ignorance. That's just putting the ball in their court. I didn't go to this guy's page and say, hey, prove to me that you're not a fucking idiot. I said, hey, you disagreed with what I posted. You're on my page, and I'm asking you in a respectful, non-offensive, to me, inoffensive way to share your experience. You know, do you have data? Even if it's like, yeah, I DM'd, because I can see a scenario in which a random DM could work. It's just not the norm, and I've never experienced that myself. So, yes, I'm sure there are scenarios in which it works. Not in the way that 99.9% of the people who are doing it are actually doing it, but I can see where maybe he said, you know what, I made a song about, I don't know, science, and I emailed a bunch of major science organizations, and I just sent them my song and said, hey, I made this song about, I don't know, some topic in astronomy, and 3 of them responded and actually shared it on their social media, and I gained, 1,000 new fans because of that. I can see that happening. And to me, that's a slightly smarter approach. That's not necessarily, it's still unsolicited, but it's not untargeted. And there are all these different ways that you can specify exactly what your methods are. And certainly I wouldn't be offended if you're challenging me and saying, this is my take. So my question is, what's wrong with me? I want you to put your psychology hat on and just say, Payne, there's something you don't understand about people. Maybe you should be evaluated because what you said was really nasty, and you're dead inside.
I have no, I mean, I am not a psychiatrist. I cannot diagnose what's wrong with you. I do know that, your language online is, short, and, I read it sometimes, think, oh, you're going at this cat, like, and just like, even we have different humor, or when, like, sometimes your jokes don't like, or sometimes meant to be a joke, and I'm not sure, like, that's just pain. I've come to know it and love it, but that's just because I've been around you for a while, and yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
anyone who's watching this, if you have any resources to share, because I'm really not like, this is kind of a serious thing for me. Just trying to understand what I know this is a selfish use of the podcast. I'm sorry.
Exactly. So that's what I've been thinking. I'm trying to pull the learnings out of, like, what? Okay, what can people take away from this for them?
I guess narcissism, right? That's the first.
Awesome.
Okay. I guess what they can pull from it is that you should challenge the people that are sharing information, and that's okay. It's okay, but maybe not, because people were offended. Maybe don't challenge anybody because it's nasty. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think maybe the more general learning is, in any form of communication, like what we intend to communicate is not always what's received, whether we're talking, whether we're writing, whether we're listening. And the more experience you have going in back and forth with people, you learn how to control that disconnect.
I don't. That's the issue. I do not.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, because I definitely miscommunicate at times, but I have more control over my communication today than I did 20 years ago. It's something that you learn, whether it's business relationships or personal relationships. We're not always 100%. We're not always going to communicate 100% effectively. But to control that disconnect is, that's ultimate emotional intelligence. And I think that's going to benefit artists, and it benefits you outside of your artistry as well. So, yeah.
I agree with that. I just wish I understood it.
I don't know, man. Take some emotional intelligence. We talked about taking courses. I'm sure there are platforms that have, emotional intelligence trainings and exercises to get better at that. So maybe that's something that you can put on the schedule.
Okay. I'll look into it. Seriously.
Cool. All right. Well, dope. I think there are definitely some gems in this podcast, but hopefully it also helped Payne, give him some resources, or not some resources, just some thoughts, and maybe you're gonna look at your dialogue, or maybe just dial back the dialogue. How about that? Maybe that's the takeaway, Payne, or maybe add a smiley face to things that are supposed to be
lighthearted.
Well, a smiley face could also be a dickhead move too. So so don't just start adding smiley faces to everything.
That I thought we were taking a step forward just now.
It's not that easy. It's not as easy as just adding a smiley face.
3 smiley faces.
Because that could be, a smiley face could also be a dickhead move. So anyway.
I don't know. I mean, if we're talking about DMs, we're not talking about a person's inner identity. So I guess I don't see where the emotional response comes in when we're talking about that. Like people
are on edge online, because other people can see it. So it's not just, it's a public forum. So if you don't want to be made fun of one-on-one, and you definitely don't want to be made fun of while you think other people are watching,
then don't say stupid shit.
I don't know what to tell you, Payne. We can wrap this one up, though.
Oh, boy. All right. This was the Music Entrepreneur Club podcast powered by BeatStars. BeatStars.live. We're live every Monday and every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our free music business mentorship program. Check out BeatStars.live and BeatStars.world. And then also text our number to get updated every time we go live. What's that number, Dan?
Text MEC to 844-206-7800, and you'll get a text right before we go live.
Cool. Once again, appreciate you tuning in. Thank you. If you have a diagnosis for me, leave it in the comments, and we will catch you next episode. Peace.
Peace.